Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I'm Sam Allman.
I'm Bernard.
I'm Trish.
And today we'll be playing the fourth part of Bernard's autobi-RPGs, Skies of Arcadia, covering all of the events in Ixa'taka. But before we get started, how is everyone's week?
Bad. You may have noticed we haven't recorded for like this whole month, and that's there have been a few JRPG canons that I was not in because my life has been bad.
Yeah, that sucks.
Basically, I'm getting laid off from my awesome job, and I am just having to, at age 32, completely reevaluate how I'm living my life and my career and shit. Because my career and shit have not been going well ever. So I'm trying to change this problem into an opportunity.
Yeah.
And gonna try and learn a trade like I should have done long ago.
I hope that this is like looking back, being one of those things where it's like, oh, so-and-so didn't do blah, blah, blah until they were in their 30s. You don't have to have things figured out as a high schooler or whatever. And I hope that this is the start of the best chapter of your life for you.
I hope so as well.
Yeah, that would be nice if it worked out that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm signed up to take some classes at local community college, except signing up for college is hard, and I think I did it wrong.
Oh.
But the classes start in 3 days, so hopefully I get it figured out.
I hope.
Gotta love the looming hammer of, did I sign up for classes correctly when your classes are about to start? That's just real great situation to be in, speaking from experience, and also several of my partners have had that experience.
Mm-hmm.
I've just been playing Zelda.
I haven't even played Zelda. I've not even touched Zelda. I've not been in a headspace to. I've barely been able to, over the course of these 3+ weeks, get through this one section of Skies of Arcadia, and I've not even touched Zelda, and everyone's angry at me for it because they can't talk about Zelda with me.
Hey, that's fine. I only got the game with less than a week ago. I've barely played it. I've only done one shrine on the surface once you're able to get down to the surface, if that explains anything to people listening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really enjoying it. It's not where my head is right now, and I'm wanting to focus on other things.
Yeah, it's crack. It's
and I'm being careful about that.
Yeah.
And for me, not even once.
Yeah, I will wait to explode about it until more people have played it. But it's real good, and it's crazy that this is the sequel to the game that everyone was like, this is real good. How could it get better than this? And the new one makes the old one kind of like decent at best, and it's nuts.
That's a wild thing to claim. I'm excited to find out.
Yeah.
To play it more and see that.
Yeah, it's obviously not decent because it's still like at second place is still like miles beyond like almost everything else, but it's still fantastic, and I love it. But I won't go farther into it. But
without going into it at all, I'm very I'm the kind of Zelda fan that I am all up in all that lore. Yes, I know it was not all intentional from the start. I don't give a shit. I enjoy it anyway. And this game has gotten all of us Zelda lore nerds a lot to chew on and theorize about, and I've been enjoying talking about that with the one girlfriend I have who's super into that stuff.
Yeah. I could, like, I've done 3 of the MacGuffins, but I easily could have done none of them. I happened upon it and started doing it. Like, it's even more so than Breath of the Wild. Is more fun to just, like, I'm just gonna go over here and do a thing for a bit.
Yeah.
And I love that a lot. Anywho, I keep trying to segue away from it so that I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
But,
well, to segue, this last week and the last quite a few weeks since we've done an episode of this, and I've talked about what's been going on. I'm in Oregon now, currently staying with my parents. I'm going to be here for the next month-ish. We're still figuring out exactly how long before I do another move across the country, which I believe I've talked about before. So far, it's been good. Definitely experiencing after basically living alone, but with people I don't know. So it's both alone and also like claustrophobic. Like I'm around people all the time at the same time, which was awful.
mhm.
The new situation is taking some time to get used to. Though at the moment I'm house sitting, so it is just me here most of the time, me and 2 dogs. Um,
I love
but
house sitting. You just gotta try not to destroy anything or kill anything, and if you don't, then it's a good chill time.
This does include taking care of a garden, so it is slightly more than normal house sitting, but it still works. Just gotta water every
Gardening, I'm
couple
not a
of days.
fan of. Gardening, I can't do.
It's light enough that I can. The only other thing I think of is I realized I don't think in all the time I've been here I've never like gushed about this particular thing. I've been please correct me if I'm wrong, and I have done this and stop me from repeating myself. But what I just got finished doing, what I've been doing every so often, including yesterday, was me and a friend of mine have been going through. I've been reading to them the Girl Genius books, the novelization of the Girl Genius webcomic. Which, if you have never read Girl Genius in either webcomic or novel form, it is so good, and I have to recommend it with all my heart. It is a wonderful, like, operatic story of romance and mad science in a horrifying, beautiful world. It rides that line between wacky, silly, and extremely dark in some places, and it rides that line really well, in my opinion. And it's just a fun time. It's especially if you like mad science. If you like mad science, it's its most wacky, and you just want to see a world full of mad scientists who have spent as long as people have been around doing mad science things and the kind of world that creates. It's fun. It's so fun. There are pests called mimeths that are tiny mammoths that someone bred that are the size of mice. They are everywhere. And it's just so silly and wonderful.
That sounds very silly.
That
and
sounds
wonderful.
great, but this article I've just dropped in host chat is me, but for everything.
That's entirely fair. This is also I refer to it as the One Piece of webcomics.
Oh wow!
Because it is that long. It has been running since I think 2001.
2000 November 4th, 2002.
2002, November 4th, 2002. It's been running all that time. There's actually a lot of weird overlap between it and One Piece. They both have a time skip halfway through. They're both unbearably long and have no sign of ever stopping. Which I say even though One Piece says it is apparently in its final arc, but still. And I mean that in a good way, in all the bad ways. Like it's got all the strengths and weaknesses of One Piece, kind of like delicious, lovely world building, very fun sense of humor, but also some deep dark in there. It's great. Also, way more romance than One Piece, though. Which, if you like some good romance, there's some good romance. There's a great throuple. Much like the video game we're talking about today, there's a great. Oh, this is meant to be a love triangle, but this is just a throuple.
Yeah, let's talk about this throuple after listening to some music about it.
Also, for those listening at home, the article I dropped in the host chat was The Onion. Man not accepting any more television recommendations at this time. I figured I should
pretty good.
Tell them the joke that I did just in the private chat.
That's a good idea. That is pretty good podcasting for him to do that.
Yeah.
So Bernard, what happened this episode of Skies of Arcadia?
Well, with the new engine from Beletza's ship, our heroes set sail for the treacherous South Ocean and adventure. They wonder what this new, to them, world of Ixa'taka will be like. Fina says that since ancient times, the Green Moon's blessings have caused the land to be covered in lush forests. Ika imagines there are lots of delicious things to eat there. Vice figures there's probably lots of terrible monsters waiting to eat them. And judging by the encounter rate, Vice was the correct one.
Yeah.
Our heroes dock the Little Jack and find their way to a small forest village. A bunch of people wearing masks approach them. They ask if the girl in white robes is Ketya. Fina's like, what? Vice says they're blue rogues from across the South Ocean. The villagers say that our heroes are not Ketya and are the same as the men from the east, and they must leave. Drachma suggests they go speak with the leader of the village, and also says they need to find more moonstones to power their engine. So, on the one hand, they don't leave, even though they've been told to. On the other hand, they sort of can't leave, so I'll give it to them. The village elder tells our heroes that their people bring disaster and they must leave immediately. Vice is like, no way, man. We do not bring disaster. Please tell us what the deal is with these men from the east and Ketya. The elder says Ketya is their god. Generations ago, when the giant came to destroy them, Ketya appeared and saved them. Ancient prophecies say that Ketya's messengers will come from the east and save them if their land is ever in danger. However, the men from the east, who say they come from a place called Valua, attacked them and took over Ixa'taka's sacred mountain to mine moonstones. Vice tells the elder they're fighting against Valua and are seeking the green moon crystal. The elder's like, well, okay, I'll trust you. Here's directions to our king's hideout so you can ask him. Also, please save our people. But before they can go see the king, our heroes have to find some moonstones. Outside the village, they find a crashed ship. They speak with a young man named Hans, who says they're blue rogues under the command of Captain Sentime. However, the Valuans kidnapped Sentime and are forcing him to use his engineering knowledge to develop weapons for them. Our heroes are like, that's too bad. Can we have some moonstones? Hans is like, sure. So now our heroes can fly again.
Yay.
However, on the way to the king's hideout, they see the forest is burning. We see DeLoco's flagship, the Chameleon, torching the forest. DeLoco monologues to himself about how once the forest has burned down, he'll be able to find the lost city of Rixus and claim the moon crystal. The vice captain says that the Little Jack has been spotted, and DeLoco is thrilled by the opportunity to own Vice. The Little Jack and the Chameleon face off. The Little Jack wins. DeLoco freaks out about being owned and passes out. The vice captain orders a retreat to Moonstone Mountain. The badly damaged Chameleon flies away while our heroes head to the king's hideout. King Ixa'taka thanks our heroes for driving off the Chameleon. Vice explains their quest. King Ixa'taka knows the green moon crystal and says that the Valuans have been searching for it too. He says it's most likely in the lost city of Rixus, an ancient city from the old world said to be built entirely of gold. Ika is very excited about this idea. King Ixa'taka says if anyone knows where to find Rixus, it would be the high priest Ixa'taka. However, the Valuans took Ixa'taka prisoner in the mines in the sacred mountain. Our heroes decide to go rescue him so he can tell them how to find Rixus. As our heroes sneak through the mines, we have lots of scenes of DeLoco and our favorite buddy Alfonso butting heads. They do, however, agree that they hate Vice and want to kill him. Eventually, our heroes run into the captured Captain Sentime. He was thrown into the dungeons here after refusing to help Valua. He uses his engineering brain to activate the elevators so our heroes can delve further into the mines. He does not stick with the party, who would be able to keep him safe, but instead goes ahead on his own so that he can get captured again or scout things out and deactivate any traps. We'll see which one happens. Later, our heroes find different jail cells, including one which contains Ixa'taka. He flirts at Aika and Fina. Gross! However, he does correctly identify Fina as a Sylvite. Fina's like, "How did you know about that?" And he just says it's instinct.
I just have to reiterate what you said about the grossness of this whole scene. Especially because he makes a comment about like he doesn't even want or need the men there. He just wants the girls, and it's like that's just I don't feel safe having the women be around you, man.
I mean, the women are pretty high level at this point. I
they are. They could probably
they'd be able to take him
true.
out. Our heroes take Ixa'taka with them as they make their way further into the mines. However, he will not appear in the upcoming cutscenes in the mines, which is weird. I guess he's following at a distance. Anyway, our heroes find themselves locked in a big room with a spiky ceiling. That can't be good. Right as DeLoco is about to flip the switch to make the ceiling descend, the door opens and Alfonso walks in. DeLoco's like, "What the fuck is Alfonso doing?" Alfonso calls out Antonio 2, an improved version of that weird thing we fought at the beginning of the game.
Yep.
I love this scene
so much.
Yes.
It was very funny.
It's good. Just most scenes in this game are really good.
Mm-hmm.
And there's lots of flavors. After getting its ass kicked, Antonio 2 rears back and falls on Alfonso. DeLoco's like, "Well, I'll just kill Alfonso 2, since no one likes him anyway." And he flips the switch. The ceiling does not descend. DeLoco's vice captain shows up and says someone tampered with all the traps. DeLoco freaks out at being thwarted and passes out. Our heroes finally find the exit, where they meet up with Sintime. He talks like he's going to go on ahead and go back to his family by himself, and I'm like, "Do you have a ship? Are we not taking you back on the Little Jack?" Anyway, our heroes escape the mines. They bring Ixa'taka back to King Ixa'taka's hideout. Ixa'taka tells them a mysterious riddle, which is the key to opening the path to Rixus. Our heroes solve the riddle and enter Rixus. Much to Aika's disappointment, it is not actually made of gold. They marvel at the city, which has been deserted since the ancient world, except Aika sees someone in the distance. They disappear as soon as she looks away for a moment. Was it a ghost? Our heroes make their way through the ruins of Rixus and eventually encounter the person Aika saw. They chase after them. The chase leads them to a temple at the top of a mountain, but they lose track of the mysterious person along the way. Before they can check out the temple, a giant bird monster attacks for no particular reason other than it being the end of the dungeon.
You gotta have a fight at the end of the dungeon.
Yes. After kicking the bird's ass, our heroes check out the temple. There's an engraving on the wall that looks like a person in Sylvite robes. Fina reads an inscription. "We, who have come from the Temple of the Silver Moon, have sealed within the forest, after the rains of destruction washed away the lands, the unsleeping giant Grendel, and upon his sealing the green crystal was kept within these walls." And I'm like, damn, the Sylvite civilization is all crazy advanced and stuff, but they can't structure a sentence well. Fina explains that the Green Civilization was nearly destroyed by the Rains of Destruction, but Grendel continued to terrorize the survivors. After generations, the survivors were reduced to scattered groups of scavengers, who saw the Sylvites as gods when they came to seal Grendel away. However, the party does not see the green moon crystal anywhere. Weird. They then spot the mystery person who has been eavesdropping on them. They catch him. He admits to being a high priest of Ixa'taka, tasked with guarding these ruins. But weren't these ruins long lost? No! King Ixa'taka lied. He and the high priest knew where it was and knew where the green moon crystal was all along. And they had already found the green moon crystal, and they planned to use it to summon Grendel to drive out the Valuans. King Ixa'taka just sent our heroes on these quests to draw Valua's attention. The ground starts a rumbling, and a giant pillar of green light shoots into the sky. The green giant Grendel rises from the ground. While our heroes scramble back to the Little Jack, we see Alfonso's flagship, the Cygnus, lead an attack against Grendel, but it's not working. It punches a ship right out of the sky. Alfonso quickly orders a retreat, and it's played like it's a cowardly move, but I don't want to defend Alfonso, but I think he made the correct call.
Yeah, that was just survival.
Yeah, because we know you don't actually beat a Giga in a ship battle. It doesn't work that way.
Mm-mm.
But whatever. Now it's Steloko's turn to do something. He plans to attack the one commanding Grendel, rendering it defenseless. A repaired and upgraded chameleon fires at King Ixa'taka's ship, knocking him out. Ixa'taka orders the ship to retreat, and Grendel goes berserk without anyone controlling it. The Little Jack finally arrives on the scene. We fight the chameleon again. We win again. Steloko freaks out at getting owned again and passes out again. His vice captain orders a retreat, and our heroes turn their attention to Grendel. Drachma points out a nearby canyon and suggests trying to knock Grendel into it so that it can't cause any more destruction. It works! We cut to our heroes convening with King Ixa'taka. He admits he was wrong to summon Grendel and apologizes for deceiving them. He willingly gives them the green moon crystal. Success! And they're like, well, since the Valuans are retreating, they've probably taken down the iron net that was blocking the North Ocean, which would make it easy to get to Valua. And our heroes are like, that's good enough reason to make our next destination Valua, so we can get the Yellow Moon Crystal, even though that seems like it would be the hardest place in the game. We already sort of broke into it once, and they're probably not going to let us do that again real easy. But I guess we'll see how it goes. And adventure.
And adventure.
All right, so let's listen to a little more Skies of Arcadia music, and then we'll talk about our memorable moments.
So that didn't take long. In my defense, I'm used to timing out these notes, factoring in Maddie Grace interrupting and speaking for 10 uninterrupted minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it also was a lot longer gameplay than it was cutscene this week.
We had 2 big dungeons.
Like, you basically started as the gang arrives in Ixa'taka, and there's a good hour of fight of going against the wind and getting in a lot of random battles to get through the South Ocean.
And before you even do that, there's also a bonus boss you can do, which I did. Did either of you two do the bonus boss?
I did both bonus bosses.
Wait, what's the second bonus boss?
Well, there's the wanted person.
Yeah.
And then there's also the bounty hunter.
Oh, wait, the bounty hunter. I don't think I did the bounty hunter.
At some point, I forget exactly how you trigger it, but the guy at the Sailors Guild gives you a black spot, and you're like,
oh, I got
that sounds
yeah.
bad. Yeah. So, I forget the details, but basically you use that and you go to see the bounty hunter, and she fights you, but you win. And then she's like, you haven't seen the last of me. I don't remember. I did it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, I did take some notes on the other bonus boss, the one that was a wanted poster. I don't want to get into the story of it. It's a kid who has a big buff bodyguard. The kid is like inheriting a pirate business that he doesn't really want. And you got to fight him. Kid actually turns out to be a huge problem. That boss fight is really cool, but really hard. The bodyguard is just brutal with physical attacks and has huge physical defense, while the mage kid will provide backup magic the whole time. Mostly just like healing and doing buff spells and debuff spells on his friend and debuff spells on your party, which are infuriating.
Yes.
So I took out the bodyguard and I thought, cool, this kid has nothing but support spells. I'll just kill him. Turns out if you take out the bodyguard, he starts doing AoE spells that hit the whole party. And
Really?
yeah, it gets really hard really quickly until I realized something. Did either of you spend your moonberries to unlock the super move Delta Shield from Ica?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This hasn't come up in the game yet, really, because I feel like this boss fight's like the first big area where it's useful. You can get Ica to get an ability that's really cheap. It's only I think 3 or 4 SP. And it shields the party against magic, so you're completely unaffected by all magic, but you also can't cast magic through it. So it's a both sides sort of no one can cast magic this turn spell. And against a boss who literally only could do magic, it turned into this horrible fight of these people beating this child to death. But it worked, and I had to do it because he was really horribly hard otherwise.
I don't remember him starting to do offensive spells once I took the bodyguard down, but maybe I'm just not remembering.
Maybe. But yeah, that was
yeah, I made a lot of use of Delta Shield in that fight to try and avoid the status spells.
Yeah, the status spells suck.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to bring up the subject about the culture we're visiting in this particular continent that we got to?
You can.
Well, like I said,
do I have to?
Like I said, it seems like this game, you go to a bunch of different places based on a bunch of different cultures. And as I said, hopefully that doesn't turn out too racist. And it's not my place to judge, but I don't think it was. It wasn't as racist as it could have been.
Yeah.
It wasn't as racist as it could have been. I still, from what I understand, as someone who is not indigenous, but having, trying to listen to indigenous voices, I have heard in media in general, a thing that frequently gets talked about is the just kind of grabbing a bunch of different indigenous cultures and just kind of mashing them together as one homogenous thing. And this did that a bunch. There were elements not just like from North and South American indigenous cultures, all just kind of slammed together. They did the thing of, oh, we thought the invaders were messengers from our god, and so we welcomed them at first, which that's used in not great ways sometimes. Yeah, it definitely could be worse. Positive note, I don't know how much either of you explored the village, their little village area. I thought that was like easily my favorite like town area of the game so far, and
yeah,
one of my favorite ones I think I've ever run into in a JRPG. It's so dense and 3-dimensional. There's a lot of little cool hidden goodies all throughout it, and there's a couple areas where there's like slides you can go down that give you a cool little first-person view that's actually really fun and not just here's your character model going down a slide. Like, it was good. I don't know. I thought it was very well designed.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun with the fact that these are fully 3D environments, and they don't have to do any camera tricks to make it work. They change camera angles, you go up and down, you go on those slides. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, if you liked this 3D JRPG town and you want another good one, you should play Anachronox. And the moment you leave the town, stop playing Anachronox. If you go back to those episodes, we are all Anachronox fanboys for that whole first planet. And then by the end of the game, we're like, yeah, they wasted our time for like 3 things and then ended on a cliffhanger. Fuck this game. But that first planet is fantastic, and it's a very, very good JRPG town.
Anachronox sure starts strong.
Uh-huh. So speaking of Anachronox, that was one of the big things that they did was they had really detailed facial animations, which was a big thing they did at the time. Oh, it didn't let me actually copy and paste it. Well, the face that Aika makes when she sees the ghost is fan-fucking-tastic.
Aika remains undefeated in terms of faces.
It's so good.
Yeah, when I was watching this, streaming it in a server, it was just so fun with everyone who's never seen this game watching it was just like, she's the best character.
Yeah.
And I was sitting here like, yes, she is. She is, in fact, the best character.
There it is. Yeah. I had copied it to my notes, but it wouldn't let me copy it out of my notes for some reason. It's fantastic.
I really like her annoyed face where her eyes are really narrow.
They're like triangular.
Yes.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I also really liked the mine dungeon.
Oh yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, the critical path was kind of boring, but exploring all the nooks and crannies was really fun.
Yeah.
And you were likely to find all the nooks and crannies because of the mechanics of the thing. But if you guessed correctly, like I did for like 2 floors straight, it's kind of just you run down a ramp. But
yeah,
using first person view to see where you can fall down safely, to fall down and get an extra chest and things like that. And once you unlock the elevators, going back to find alternate ways up and down and stuff, it was really cool.
Yeah, compared to the Desert Temple last time, I think this was a much better dungeon. That one was a bit of at least for me, a little bit of a slog eventually. This one just felt kind of breezy and fun.
I think I preferred the second dungeon, except it, like, the thing about this city is that it's in the it's misty and cloudy and everything. But in the battle screen, it looks so weird because, like, it looks like everything around you is misty, but everything actually in the battle is crystal clear, and it looks really weird to me.
It definitely looks weird.
Yeah, no, definitely a bit odd. Speaking of the dungeon in question, the first one, not the second one that we did, compared to the admiral we fought last time, I went into this. Oh gosh, I'm forgetting his name again. Was it DeLoco?
Yes.
DeLoco, and being like, I don't think I'm gonna have much fun with this, and I was wrong. First of all, I didn't realize it, but eventually I started to be like, he has a really Dr. Octopus looking head. He has that weird bowl haircut with the goggles going on. But more than that, anytime he gets really angry and upset, he starts like thrashing around, and they play this sound effect in the background that sounds like it's a sound effect from an old-fashioned cartoon, and it's just so delightful. It just it adds such a good amount of like silly comedy. Like we've said, the characters in this game are so expressive. It makes like scenes that could be nothing into like little bits of fun. And by the end, I was like, hey, this guy's not bad. Not as good as Lady last time, in my opinion, but still fun.
Anyone got anything else?
We better think of something, or this episode gonna be real short.
Actually, here's a thing I forgot I wanted to talk about. There's a mechanic of this game that we haven't really talked about on the podcast. which was relevant in this week, and that we were actually kind of forced to do it a little bit, which was discoveries.
Oh
Because
yeah.
this is a game about the Age of Discovery kind of feeling, sky pirates, airships. There's a whole mechanic for discovering things out in the overworld. And there's a whole thing with the guild where you can sell the information of finding one for other people to know about. However, that character when we first went into the Sailors Guild, way earlier in the game, who was bragging about finding things before us, it turns out he's a character who, once we complete an area, he will have found about half of the discoveries there and turned them in. So it'll be worth way less if we do it at that point. And so he's always a little ahead of you is the idea. You have to really go through and do that if you want to get the full price on those. I think it's a really fun idea. In this section, it was required because in order to get to the Lost City, you have to find 2 landmarks and then use those landmarks to find the city itself. I honestly, my only issue is that with the landmarks, I've been going kind of completionist. I've been looking up a guide for them and trying to get all the ones I can, which is kind of infuriating because I feel like if you're just close enough to it, it should be yay, you found it. But no, you have to get to the exact right spot and confirm it with the A button. And it's really precise. And so there's a lot of them that why would I ever think there would be a discovery there? Why would I ever think there's a thing out here in the middle of nowhere?
Because your
To click
compass
A and
spins
find
around in
it.
circles.
Okay,
But
the
you have to
compass
get
spins
pretty
around in circles,
close.
but you have to get very close to that though.
Yeah.
It's I think the mechanic could be done a little better, but it's still it's neat. It's a fun concept,
Yeah, I like that you have to keep ahead of the other person finding discoveries. And I like just all the little flavorful mechanics of your pirate reputation and finding the discoveries and doing the wanted pirate things and all that. There's just so much in this game, and yet it still is very light and breezy, as evidenced by the fact that we can talk about the whole plot of this episode in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. I had a thought and then my brain dropped it and it crashed and just shattered in the floor. Oh no. Come on. Oh no, I think it's lost to me. Oh, nope, that was it. I remembered. Did either of you do interact with the black market airship?
Yes.
Not this week, but I think I saw it before.
Yeah, there's sometimes in different areas of this game, there's just airships flying around, but there's one in Ixa'taka that you could just go talk to, and it opens up a shop screen because you found a black market shop, and you're able to do trade for some unique stuff there, as well as just resupply in general, which is just really cool. I thought that was just a fun, neat idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it also offers the Sailors Guild amenities, which is nice because you don't want to sail all through the South Ocean again.
Definitely
Yeah, that
not.
place is a nightmare.
Yes. I also went into this wanting to do it a little completionistly, but I quickly gave up on getting all the discoveries this week. If there weren't battles on the overworld, I would probably go for them, but oof.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Speaking of confirming things with the A button, so Emu Deck updated recently, and the new update is fantastic. However, the new update changes the GameCube button layout to more correctly match the thumb position so that the games will feel correct to play, but that then changed all the buttons that I was used to for Skies of Arcadia. Because Skies of Arcadia, it doesn't matter where the B button is. When it tells me to press the B button, I just press the one that had a B on it, and it was fine because it's all just a RPG. It's turn-based. I don't need to have it perfectly mapped out. But now the B button is the X button on the Steam Deck. The menu button is now the B button, and the map button is now the Y button. And that's a very, very bad control scheme for an RPG, and it's breaking my brain, and I hated it, but I didn't feel like fixing it before I was trying to speed through it today.
That is the exact kind of problem that would annoy me terribly, but I would not put in the effort to fix.
It's exactly what it was. Yeah, I will probably fix it if I can, on a per game basis, even if it's just like in the Steam Deck remapping or whatever, and not through Dolphin. But yeah, it was rough. Probably would feel great if I was playing Wind Waker or something, that I wanted the buttons to be where they're supposed to be. But I was not playing Wind Waker. I was playing Skies of Arcadia.
It would be great if there were an official HD re-release of this game and you could just play it on your PlayStation 5.
That would be nice. Someone should talk to Sega about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever told them that they want to re-release of Skies of Arcadia, so we should email Sega and say, hey, you probably haven't thought about this.
Oh, you know what would also be a good idea? We should
What?
email Reggie Fils-Aimé and tell him to release Mother 3 as well. I think he hasn't.
Even though he no longer is the head of Nintendo of America.
Yeah. Did you see that on Twitter? He wished everyone a happy Mother Day.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
I had the silly thought that if this game had not been published by Sega, but instead by Capcom, we would have already had at least 5 sequels.
Yes.
we could email Doug Bowser and say, stop being evil.
We should do that. We should really do that.
Yeah. But I'm out of ideas to vamp.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I got 7 more minutes out of us, and that was about it. Yeah, we will be back next week to cover probably the next chunk. We might cover 2 chunks if we can, but if they're beefy like they were this week, then we'll just have short episodes through Skies of Arcadia, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, the game just doesn't have very dense stuff in it. So
it's not.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly. Yeah, it doesn't exactly give us material to be discussing themes about, existentialism or what is really morality or something like that. It's a fun swashbuckling adventure with fun characters and a really great throuple, and it's enjoyable for that.
Yeah. But that'll do it for the week. If you like what you heard, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to help us pay for hosting costs, game costs, Adobe subscription costs, all that jazz. You can join in one of 3 tiers. The Gadabout tier is for everyone who pays $1 or more a month. This will get you access to our Book Club no Kiseki episodes a month before everyone else, and will let you vote on our polls whenever they go live. Beyond that, we have the Warrior tier at $5 or more a month, where you get your name shouted out at the end of every episode, just like this. Shoutouts to Peninsula of Power, Floris, Kaldron, Freddie Rodriguez, AARon524, Vimk, JFro Prime, and Doho. And then finally, we have the Luminary tier, which is for everyone who loves us so much that they'll pay us $20 or more a month. And so they also get a one-sentence shout-outs to make me say whatever they want. So shout out to L. Tantavi, who wants you to check out critical-distance.com, which is an aggregator for games criticism and journalism. And then shout outs to William Taylor, who wants you to check out rpgamer.com, a game review website by people like us, for people like us. And also shout outs to Carr, who's a dentist, so he's not shouting out his Twitch stream, but rather your own mouth. And he says to brush your teeth twice a day, most importantly, the time right before you go to bed. For RPG Book Club, I've been Sam Allman.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye.